I think we're good to go ahead. Hey everybody! Time for discussing tabletop. You know,
Yay.
I have no idea how tired I'm going to be after all this, but you know,
Probably very.
God, and tomorrow's going to be a busy day too already. Man, crazy.
I know that tomorrow's actually not going to be a busy day for me because I leave work before it gets busy.
Oh, lucky you.
I may or may not run a game on Sunday. We'll see.
We'll see.
I don't have to deal with church people tomorrow. So I'll be
Ooh.
out of the store by the time church looks out.
Well, talkers in chat, we have Warhammer to start to talk about. Let me put this horrible link into chat.
Jimmy Space and his Space Marines.
I don't know what to think about this because I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's cards, they're Warhammer-y.
Oh no!
Hate it. In my,
Magic the Gathering.
My 100% honesty. I don't like it and I don't care.
Yeah.
Because the decks are too expensive.
How much are they actually?
I think they're like $60.
That seems like a lot.
I know they went up in price. These are the first ones that are going to be super expensive.
Let me check. Let's check Amazon. Amazon pre-order. Oh!
Yeah.
$56. A commander deck.
Yup.
They were selling these things for like $20 at one point in time.
Oh yeah.
That's because it's got the Warhammer 40k on it.
Screw that jazz. Oh,
it's just like I just don't care.
like
I don't know any of these characters. I don't care about Warhammer 40k. If it was fantasy, I'd care a little more.
Oh, we got Captain America here.
Yeah, it's America's ass.
The outfit is a reconnaissance mission, and it just looks like it's a Captain America man. I think it looks like you even got a star or something. It might be like the star and wings that it's like, you know, Warhammer, but I recognize some of the things. I don't do Warhammer. I don't do Magic the Gathering, but I have seen people play games and show minis and stuff.
Yeah, cool. There's Gene Stealers. There's Space Marines.
Oh, here's a Necron Overlord.
Tyranids are here.
I don't know. If you have disposable income and you like both Magic the Gathering and Warhammer.
At the end of the day, it's another commander deck that's very expensive.
the thing is, I'm just gonna say this like off the top of my head, just looking through the stuff here. I can't judge the Warhammer pure stuff because it's new, and we don't know a lot about that. You know, you don't know how good or bad that is. You have to judge these commander decks by the Warhammer treated reprints. You know, like Fabricate and stuff. There aren't a lot of them at all, and a lot of them I just look at them and I'm like, these are okay. Fabricate is fine. It's been reprinted before, though. You know, I think that's like, there's other ones that are fine.
I
but...
love this card. It's called Let the Galaxy Burn, which sounds super cool and epic. What it does, deals X+2 damage to each creature that didn't enter the battlefield this turn.
That's just not great at all. I don't think I would use that.
These names, the problem is, you're putting these names, which in Warhammer are like these super, strong and cool things, and you're giving them Magic the Gathering mechanics that they don't line up because they're very different things.
What if it was more like a arena kind of thing where any creature played takes the damage or something? That'd be more interesting.
There's a lot of.
I don't know Magic the Gathering. I do know one of these characters is called Sloppity Bile Piper, which is hilarious.
That is a dude. That is a thing.
There's also Shard of the Void Dragon. It's not a dragon, it's a man with wings. It's cool as hell sounding, though.
I mean, it is actually like...
Their name is Death. Destroy all non-artifact creatures.
Yeah. Like, some of these cards I look at that I'm like, oh, that's actually not bad. Like, Shard the Nightbringer. I look at that card, it's expensive, but it's like, that's actually not bad. I could see uses for it. Honestly, when it enters the battlefield, it does that. So I can just see playing it once or cheating it into the battlefield somehow. And then that's pretty good. Your opponent loses half their life, you gain that life. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. You know, yeah, it's expensive, but they're fucking black. There's ways to cheat things onto the battlefield.
Living Death. Each player exiles all creature cards from their graveyard, then sacrifices all creatures they control, then puts all cards that exiled this way onto the battlefield.
That's some Yu-Gi-Oh shit.
That thing, that is a reprint, though. And I'm saying,
Yeah.
that's like, I know that card is Living Death. It's technically not. There are decks for that, where, like, you playing black, just sacrifice all your stuff to screw up your opponent, and then you're like, oh, you still have creatures. Oh, I have none. Oh, Living Death. All my stuff's back out. All your stuff is dead. Oh.
I
But
mean, I just there's some criticisms about the art. I mean, this is a joke for the system, by the way. The Slaanesh characters' arts
I
not bondage
just
enough.
got to
Not
that.
not BDSM enough for Slaanesh.
This Keepers of the Secret, you know?
yeah. Apparently it's supposed
Not-
to be more...
Not sexy enough.
not sexy enough. Like,
Oh, I got down to the burn card here.
yeah. Hierophant, like, I'm trying to look through here, and I'm just like...
A Noise Marine. He has an electric guitar.
Yeah, that's one of the orcs. I think.
I
I
think...
mean, he looks like he's a Marine.
yeah.
Might be just. Oh yeah, it's the stories.
Yeah.
Like, just give me orcs. That's all I want. Give me the biker hooligan orcs.
That's interesting. Other creatures you control have +1/+1 vigilance. I'm just trying to read through
What is
these, like...
flashback?
It means that you, if you cast it, if you use the spell already, you can use it from your graveyard, from your discard, and once you do that, you exile it from the game. So you get
Yeah,
like 2 uses of it.
I've had decks built around that mechanic.
It's
pretty.
Because
It's pretty
here's one
fun.
that's Past in Flames. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until the end of the turn.
That's not bad in a
Pretty good.
deck that's built around that, but
Yeah.
like I would rip that card out from
Yeah,
that
it's-
location
it's
and
like-
throw it into a deck that's made to do that.
In
Yeah.
the vacuum of this page, sure, these cards are cool. They don't tell me how the decks function.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I would have to
Venus
wait
Tyranids, apparently.
until we get like someone that play tests the decks.
Do you find it where the Tyranids are green?
I think they were in other ones too, because there's a lot of Tyranids in green. I thought I saw one. Yeah, legendary creature, red. It's a Tyranid. I thought I saw some.
Red
in
makes more sense
black.
to me.
There was some Tyranids in black as well.
I'm going to tell you here of the top tier legendary creatures in multicolor. Only one of these is good: the Abaddon Despoiler,
Yeah.
because it gives your stuff Cascade. Which I'm not going to explain Cascade if you don't know about it. It's a really good mechanic. It's a mechanic that there's a reason it's not reprinted a lot, except in things like Commander, because it's very
Yeah.
powerful. It's
Maybe it was.
I've had a Cascade deck before. People didn't like playing against it.
of course not.
It's just a shit mechanic that ruins everyone's fun.
What was it? What was the Bloodbraid Elf Cascades on top Lightning? That's
Yeah.
the joke. You always had the nerds that would say that. It's like, you know, quick explanation.
Mechanic.
You cast a spell. Then you flipped over top cards of your deck until you found a spell that cost 1 less than the one you just
Yep.
cast, and cast it for free. So
Yeah,
Bloodbraid
it-
Elf cast like 4, and then Lightning cast 3 or something like that.
It's
So,
very rude.
yeah, so you just get free stuff. And this is another thing of everything you cast from your hand gives you free stuff. That's good. All the others from they kind of suck. I'm gonna say here.
Yeah,
you
they're
know.
like fine. but
I-
There's nothing in this that screams outside of like maybe 3 or 4 cards. There's nothing in this that screams this is even worth.
It's a lot of money for a couple cards. That's
Yeah.
not good.
it is a 100-card deck, but I'm gonna say here, it would have been $30. If you thought $30 or even $40, I wouldn't have complained. Because that's kind of the general area that Commander decks had evolved into, $30 to $40. It's a 100-card deck. It's usually got a lot more like rares, more curated, a lot of things like that. You know, and if you said $40 with it being the Warhammer deck, okay. But
I hate
like
how when I click on the
60?
picture, it gives me a smaller preview of the
Yeah,
picture.
it's just smaller.
It's like that doesn't help me at all.
No,
actually.
it's not. It's not particularly.
They're not.
nice
They're
to
not
watch
good at
either.
previews. They're not good at previews. I'm going to tell with this preview setup here.
There's
There's a
the
much.
same art. I swear that's the same art.
Does seem to be 2 sets of art in here that they're showing off for some of them. Like a Bad into Spoiler shows up in twice.
Yeah.
I think it's because
okay. The Belkator, the Dark Master, and scrolling down.
Yeah, Inquisitor Gal,
Um,
Greyfax, Magus, Lukeen Kane, Margus Caligar, and Swarmlord all show up twice apparently.
Oh yeah, no, he's twice. Yeah.
I think it's. I don't know why. There must
That's
be a reason.
weird.
There must be a reason why it's showing up twice, and I just don't understand it. It's weird.
Who knows?
So I'm gonna say here, honestly, I don't know. It's like I feel as though it doesn't feel honestly Warhammer enough,
No.
and on the other hand, it feels too like sad magic. On the other hand, too, so it's sort of like this back end, which I'm like, I don't think it's great at all. You know,
No. Yeah, like if me looking at this, for me, like, there's not enough of the bits of Warhammer I like in here. Like, it's probably because there's not enough tech priests for my liking. That's what I would care about. Just tech priests. And there's like not enough of this here for me. So there's like nothing here for me.
Hot take. This would probably be fine if it was using Magic the Gathering rules, but it was its own playset
Yep.
where you only played with Warhammer 40k things. Because then you could balance it with each other, like
Yeah,
the
that
game.
would just be better. But
They're not doing that.
Commander, everyone's favorite.
Well, again, Commander is the popular format
Yeah.
right now, but the problem is like, I don't know what Wizards wants to do with the Commander. They want to like exploit it, but they never do it right because
Certainly don't want to put it in their fucking arena game.
yeah, of course not. Arena sucks, and they don't want to do anything else because it makes them money because it's a basically an online. It's a phone game. Arena's a phone game.
It's Hearthstone.
Yeah,
It's a
It's
gotcha
Magic.
game.
It's
Yeah.
trash.
So, I think I just have to say about it is it's not for me, but maybe it's for you out there if you feel like it's worth it. And some of these cards you might like. Check the card list, figure out what cards in one of these decks first. And honestly, the other thing is figure out if one you're gonna tear it apart for cards for other things. Because honestly, figure out where these things are legal. Like if you're just doing it with friends, honestly, then it's fine.
Yeah.
If you're going to go to like a tournament or something, then figure out where they're legal, and ask a lot of questions before you buy this one.
Yeah.
know, That's my recommendation.
I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. It's just too much money.
Yeah, I feel like if that money had been less, I would have been more for this at the beginning of this. But as soon as you told me that was like nearly $60, I'm
Yeah,
like
to
a
get
single deck.
to get all of them is like $500
It's way too much.
if you want to get like the fancy shit.
Yeah, well,
It
It's
seems like way too much.
it's too much.
when I had to spend between 120 and 160 to get like a set of Commander decks, which usually was 4 to 5, that felt a lot.
So I have some of the like the really old Commander decks somewhere,
Yeah.
and they were super cheap.
I could get,
Like,
as I
they're
said,
like $20.
yeah, some of them were 20. Like when they were even up like around like 30, 35 or something, I thought they were fine. That wasn't bad. And you could get like you get a set of them for a little cheaper, like for like $30 a piece. So it would be if you got 5 of them, like $150. If there was a 5 one, if it was a 4 one, it's like $120. That's not bad. I wasn't against that. Let's talk about something else though. Hey,
Ooh,
I got some more topics here that maybe will be
more
less
topics.
infuriating than Wizards.
Topics.
I know. The Monster
Are they hot
Overhaul.
topics?
It's no. It's a massive role-playing bestiary design for at-table utility. It provides a lot of useful tools. It's an interesting book because it's kind of like breaks down the ideas of monsters in ways and gives a lot more information on them for a lot of things. It's sort of like taking monsters and giving you more than here's a bestiary entry here's information that might be good for practically using
Yeah.
that monster.
Oh, you mean like
Then
AD&D book
you
that I
can-
can go grab right
Yeah,
behind
there's
me?
these
Yes!
randomized layers and stuff.
Yeah, like AD&D book, like the amount of information. Like I feel like 5th edition, in some ways, did some of this, but I'm like, AD&D books did this a lot better. They
Yeah.
gave a lot more
AD
information.
book tells you like the society, how many you'll find, the combat tactics they use. It's like here's how to run the monster.
No.
Also, here's the stats.
You don't deserve it.
And it also gives you like
Figure it out yourself.
It also gives you like ecology, so it's sort of like these are the kind of things it eats and behaviors it's going to have.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's helpful because I can figure out, oh, these are the kind of ways it acts and does things. The society it has, if there's multiple, that breaks it down. So getting
I like this example of the mercenary.
Yeah.
There's a D20 for why they can't fight, and on a 20, they're bloated from all this cheese we looted.
Hell yeah.
There's also, to name them, there's the D10. You roll 3 times.
uh-huh.
So let's say you roll a 5. They're the Black Company, and you got like a 3. The leader is the Lord of Belsam, and let's say you had a 9. That reputation is that the prizes cleanliness and order.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really like that for the layers. It's generic whale guts. That's one of the layers. Seized and swallowed by a whale. It's bound to happen eventually. The air, moist and fetid, freshwater, tangy, and possibly even light, faint, greenish, blue, and distant. Hurt the whale and it it churns 1d6 damage and everyone that is knocked prone.
Oh no.
I find
How,
this.
I don't like
you can
that.
roll for how to escape.
Oh, God. Mhm. Pass all the way
Pass
through.
all the way through.
Look, who else is here? Smug Mischievous Kappa, Odorous Shambler. Look,
Confused ancient skeleton.
Ancients.
man, I kind of actually love this a lot now.
There's also a shipwreck above that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the shipwreck's good too.
What's that Murpha?
Yeah, look,
Random encounter table.
Stuff like this is-
generic dragon lair.
stuff. This is really good. And $20 for a PDF copy. Yeah, I might
Yeah,
be.
it's not
with this.
bad.
It's got
That's
20.
It's good if you want to do some sweet random generation.
Look, honestly, like I like some good sweet random generation, and sometimes you just need it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just like, I need something. What the hell am I going to do? Ah.
Hold on. Let me go to page blubbity blah generic whale guts. This is where you're at today, guys.
You just got swallowed by a whale. Congratulations. It's funded. 24 days to go. I think that's a good one to recommend. Certainly.
I'm just gonna run a whale one shot that's inside of the whale.
That would be hilarious.
I hate it. Thanks.
Y'all. One if you can be a puppet person.
Oh, God.
No more puppets. I'm
Oh.
gonna get an anti-puppet gun.
Look, I heard someone talking about it. There's apparently already been 2 Pinocchio movies this year, and there's going to be a
Yes.
third.
Yeah, one is. I've heard the Disney one's like really bad.
Yeah, the Disney one's apparently really bad. They
What?
the live
Disney
action
making bad movies?
Weird, I know.
remakes that are terrible. Wow.
They only make classics. Haven't you
Yes.
heard?
Disney has not changed since the 90s.
It was interesting.
Yep.
I did hear about that. That like, it's one thing that they can't do now, but they did back in the original Pinocchio is smoking and drinking, actual
Yep.
for the kids, which made sense for them, like changing then because they were getting into things that they shouldn't have, and it was punishment for it. You can't really do that
Nope.
now.
Can't
And
do a lot of that stuff, so a lot of the messages of Pinocchio are lost.
yeah, unfortunately, it's like it's a good message in the original one. If like you're gonna do this shit, where's Donkey? And this is really like keep away from this. Anyway, here's a topic. There's some expansion for One Ring already coming out for the Lord of the Rings by Freely's Press game.
I didn't even know this came out.
I don't actually know, but apparently there's an expansion already out this fall. I assume it means it's out. Like, if it's got an expansion.
It says it's award-winning, so it must be out. It won an award.
We were talking
Who
about
gave
it.
them the awards?
I don't know.
Like Gen Con or something. They're like, haha, we're Gen Con. You've come to our convention. Have an award.
You win the best Lord of the Rings adventure.
Yeah, it is out. $45.
Yep. Well, that's not a bad price. I don't know
That's
what
pretty
the
standard.
I don't know what the Lost Realm is, but apparently the Ruins of the Lost Realm is an expansion for it.
I don't know, they're lost, I guess.
It's sucking somewhere.
I'm trying to read about
Middle
this.
Earth is too big.
I'm trying to read this, and it's just confuses the shit out of me because it's like this first paragraph is Lord of the Rings lore about where this kind of stuff is.
Look,
And I'm like,
don't try to understand Lord of the Rings lore, because if you do, you're just gonna hit a paragraph where Tolkien decides to describe a tree for 20 pages,
It's the best tree you've ever heard of.
and then he's gonna have a song number in the book. That actually is how those books are written. In between chapters, there are musical breaks.
Oh no.
It is very strange,
I hate it.
but it was written for his children.
I mean, I'm gonna say here, it describes an area, some like narrative about it, and some sites of interest. Honestly, that's pretty good for a role-playing book. You know,
I mean,
it's like
Lord of the Rings is cool. I like Lord of the Rings. I don't think I want to play in Lord of the Rings, because it's not.
Yeah,
It's not the type of fantasy I like for role-playing games, because it's very low magic.
I agree. We're already doing that on Friday.
I don't mind this type occasionally, but like, you know, it's like I would need like honestly
The
someone.
One Ring came out in 2011, apparently.
Oh God.
Whoa.
We don't remember these things. First released in one. I think it was the second edition came out
edition
this
that just
year.
came out,
Yeah, they just did the second edition. Okay,
Yeah, I mean, if you like Lord of the Rings,
it's fine.
there's definitely something here for you.
So yeah, I mean, like, I'm not against Lord of the Rings. Oh.
It's certainly like one of my favorite movie series.
Yeah.
And the Amazon TV show's pretty good too.
Oh, that's good to hear. I was thinking about that, but hadn't.
It's very pretty.
So next up is an interesting one because it's a Marvel game, but it's called Damage Control. Because you're basically a bunch of people fixing up after superheroes destroy a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Sounds
I mean,
familiar.
it makes sense.
You're the cleanup crew, except you're like, you know, and so that's an interesting.
You're rebuilding the city after the Avengers have fucking destroyed it again.
I mean, it's technically not their fault, but
I mean, there's a whole movie about it.
No, there's
About why they're bad.
Yeah, there's plenty of movies about that. So you clean up and reconstruction of after that. It's an interesting concept, honestly, and I like it as a concept.
It's
All right.
something that you never. I mean, everyone thinks about it, and when you're like after you've watched a superhero movie, like, wow, it must really fucking suck to live somewhere where superheroes live.
Who
Yeah.
the heck is Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi is one of the. He just had a movie.
He's
Okay.
until he had that movie, he really was.
He was
nothing.
a very obscure comic, and then he had a really good movie.
Yeah.
because they're like heroes such as Captain America, Shang-Chi, and Black Widow. It's like, wait, what? One of these things is not like the other.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
he just had a movie. It was a very good movie.
If you had like Iron
He
Man
had the only
or-
good movie so far in Phase 4.
Yeah, I think there was some okay, but it was the only good movie. I will say, I will agree on that one. I thought the other movies were fine. They were, you know, I watched them once. That's enough
Black
for
Widow
me.
was really bad.
It was the worst out of all of them, but you know, you could tell it suffered from a lot of stuff, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I hate Marvel movies in general,
See-
but I'm very much of the opinion that they look like shit because it's all too much green screen.
Mm-hmm. I can understand that. See, Marvel movies are my, oh, this is neat. I'll shut off my brain and activate
They're
kid
trash
mode.
to shut your brain off. Yeah.
This is some kid mode. This is some kid mode. Ooh, nostalgia. I remember these people from these, like, you know, comics and stuff. Yeah,
I've only seen like 5 of the movies. I'll
I've
be
seen
honest.
half of the Marvel movies, and I don't care to watch it anymore.
I've seen all of them.
I started watching them before it was like obviously going to be like a thing. So like the Iron Man movies, or like Captain America or whatever. And it was it's Thor. I think I thought it was the first Thor movie. And then it was like, oh, this is actually going to be like a whole universe. I'm like, oh, well, I don't really watch them enough to care. So
that would take like, so I think it takes like over 100 hours to watch all of this.
Woo.
Honestly, like, there's probably like.
When you
How many
got
of
the
them
TV shows you technically have to watch to get the story too.
You don't really. You sort of do. I don't know. There's some of them you do. Some of you don't.
I think you need to watch
I
WandaVision.
mean, I mean, there's this whole WandaVision thing.
WandaVision's actually good though.
I think WandaVision's like one of the required ones.
And then they made a movie and it confused a lot of people. And then they were like, oh, well, if you had watched the TV series, it's like, yeah, half of the people that go to the movies don't consume every single second of your media. So you can't do that. You can't just assume that everyone knows the story going in. And I don't know. Apparently people didn't like it, but I don't know.
I thought it was fine.
I thought the movie was fine. I have my complaints about that movie. Certainly, I think I think one of the things you just said there is don't assume people see it and then make the story in a way that makes more sense. There's stuff that you could have done in that movie to make it 15 minutes longer, which no one would have complained about.
To continue this back to this side tangent, Sam Raimi does not make good superheroes. He's a horror director.
He didn't he do the first the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man?
He did, which are terrible.
Well, I mean,
people have nostalgia for them, but they're not good movies.
I think the major argument that was being made
third one's terrible.
Was the villain was too flip-floppy, where they went all the way to 11 and then back down to like a 4, and it's like, wait, you can't come back from this no return thing, and here you are in this. Oh well, we can still talk, and then murder again.
Yeah,
they didn't do the villain very well.
Yeah, that's Marvel though, you know.
Yeah.
Give me Asbestos Lady.
So Damage Control, it's an interesting idea for like a hero game.
Look,
I mean,
it's all fun and games until you live in a city with superheroes and you sit there watching Hulk throw your car at a building and miss.
Yeah. How about this that Momo brought me before we go to the Elden Ring, the board game.
There's an Elden Ring board game now.
Oh no.
Everyone's favorite board game, Dark Souls, is now Elden Ring.
I mean, if it's just the Dark Souls board game with an Elden Ring skin, fine. I just feel like
it might be. I don't think any of the mechanics have really been talked about. This is just kind of the announcement of it.
I gotta be honest. It's gonna be. It's unless you do it that way, I just don't see you doing a good board game other than that. Because again, like,
it's gonna be too expensive.
It's too expensive, and like, Dark Souls is much more contained.
Campaigns in the history of platform.
Elden Ring's technically bigger, like lore-wise, so they can do more with it, and also it's like a lot more relevant than Dark Souls 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's the new hotness.
It is. Like, I mean, everyone's kind of stopped talking about it at this point. Everyone's already played it. Who's gonna play it?
Yep.
If you like the Dark Souls board game, you'll probably like this. I just thought I'd bring it up because it's an announcement I literally saw like 10 minutes before the show.
I think it's fine. You know, I would want to see what they do with it a lot more.
But when do we get Armored Core, the board game?
Never, because From Software's forgotten that exists, and they only make Dark Souls now.
True. Now, for our last main topic for today. What hurt my soul a little bit when I saw them both. Which one do you want to start with? The one that hurts my soul more, or the one that hurts my soul less?
Yeah, give me the pain. Rip it off quick like a bandage.
Alright, I'm going to throw this first one. They're both Clue.
Alright.
Hell yeah.
Labyrinth Clue.
Hell yeah, it's a goblin, babe.
Why? Why?
Right, who killed who?
I don't know.
What are you trying to figure out this one?
What are you trying to figure out in this one?
Who the Goblin King secretly controls? What object?
Which object
has cursed them? And where Toby has been hiding. Who the
Oh,
fuck is
no one's
Toby?
dead in this version.
It's the baby. It's
Why didn't
the
they just
baby
kill
you're
the
trying to say.
child and now you're out for like super revenge or something? Man.
This is weird because
Great
all those
movie.
things are like there, but I'm like also like that's not a very good who, which, where kind of, or who, what, where, because it's like they're not connected at all.
No, they're not
Yeah,
at all.
yeah. I mean, like, I guess the control an object, sure. It's like, oh, that thing controlled this person. Cool.
$45.
Why the what the baby then also? I mean, what? I mean, you could just be like where it's hidden to break it to free the person from enchantment.
Yeah. Look, I mean, how relevant
gonna-
is Labyrinth these days?
I don't know. It's also taking David Bowie and spitting on his corpse again.
A little bit, yeah.
The second time USAopoly's done
And
it.
Jim Henson, to be fair.
I
That's
just
true.
want to list off these items because they're really silly. A crystal orb, a fairy, a nipper stick, Lancelot, a shifting floor tile, and a peach.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, Lancelot's a toy bear. I can see it on the pictures. Like,
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll be
okay,
right
I
back.
like
You
that.
want-
I'm sorry, I was thinking of King Arthur's knight, Lancelot. Which
I was-
apparently in the books, he's a super coward.
Yeah, I was also trying to think of it. It could have been like the one guy's dog. I can't remember its name. Also, like, why is the wise man and the worm people that be controlled? Who cares about them? The worm shows up at the beginning. It's not like one of the main characters, but you've got the four there. Is this because they ran out of characters?
They need more players.
I'm just gonna shake my head here a little bit and be like, poor. And they of course mentioned David Bowie Monopoly towards the bottom, just to like throw dirt on that some more.
Hey, have you heard about David Bowie Monopoly?
Yeah, we haven't desecrated his grave enough.
Oh,
Here's the
he
other
even
one.
mentions it at the bottom.
Mhm.
Complete your collection with Monopoly David Bowie, and or the OP is a labyrinth card sleeves to protect the corners of any deck like a Goblin King.
I'm just gonna chuck this other one into chat. Here's another clue. It's less horrible, but it also like why? It's
Oh,
the
Grinch clue.
Grinch clue. Who'd
Who'd the Grinch kill?
Apparently he's stealing it from multiple towns. It's who catches him stealing, and what item is he stealing?
What a horrific thing for me to return.
Why are there more towns? Isn't there just one town? Like,
This is just Whoville?
yeah, but they say where in town it was taken from. Why is the Grinch's lair included? It says for 9%. Why would the Grinch be stealing something from his lair? That makes no sense.
Look, I would be down for this if and only if it was the live-action Grinch movie,
Oh hell yeah!
The Jim Carrey one?
where it's canonically stated that the Who's have swinger parties.
And also the Grinch hooks up with someone.
Yeah, the
For
Grinch
the one.
fucks.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, whatever. That's what it is. Swinger party of the Grinch fucks.
Those are canon in the movie.
I forgot. Yeah. Look. At least they're not Monopoly, but still.
Like Grinch. Well, there's already Grinch Monopoly. I know that one does exist.
It's Doctor
But
Who.
I think it's
Dr.
all
Seuss,
Doctor. I think it's all Doctor Seuss.
Yeah,
I know
Dr.
that.
Seuss.
I've seen that one before in stores.
Monopoly.
Why are they announcing this in September?
Well,
So they're ready ahead of time?
it's also $45.
Well, yeah, that's just how much Clue costs.
What the hell? I remember when you could buy Clue for $20.
Clue just costs a lot of money now.
It just
I
costs
mean,
the
that was
arm
like
and a
20
leg.
years ago.
Monopoly also costs a lot of money.
They brand them and then charge you one arm and
Yeah.
one leg for you to buy it.
Oof.
It's not great.
That's so
Doctor
much
Seuss
Clue.
Monopoly is $45.
You want a deeper discussion topic? That'll probably make us happier.
Will it though?
Okay. Skyrim.
Yeah.
I mean, Skyrim would maybe make us happier. Skyrim's fine. It's fun. It's been on too many systems,
Never.
but I like it.
I've never finished the main quest of Skyrim.
Skyrim
Did
Blue,
I?
Skyrim Monopoly win.
Oh, yeah.
Skyrim
You,
Blue.
no, it's just a Monopoly board that has like a television built in it, so you can play Skyrim.
Yeah, we just play Skyrim in it, yeah.
No, it's a board game.
So you play it in every system.
No, what they do is they release another anniversary edition of Skyrim, but the only change is there are Monopoly boards in it.
There you go.
Oh yeah, they add Monopoly as a game in Skyrim you can play.
Yes. So
And then there's DLC to get the different versions of it.
Yeah,
So you can have Skyrim Monopoly in your Skyrim.
as Todd Howard envisioned.
So this is something that like can come up, and I do have a good example of it, but it doesn't come up a lot. But because it is my birthday today, I thought your characters might have personal celebrations. Let's talk about that in games. Because honestly, I had one that's a good example. One of my characters in Children of Wrath got married.
Yeah,
That is a personal
was a-
celebration.
that was a thing.
Yeah. You could have birthdays, family things.
Yeah.
These things are good to have, but they're not always easy to have in your game.
No, they're a little different. It very
Fun
much
fact.
depends on the game.
In Cell's game, I gave my character a birthday.
I also gave my character a birthday. However, I don't think my character remembers it because they're a fucking freak.
Yeah, some kind of necromancer or something.
Yeah, a zombie. Get it right.
I think it's one of those things is that, like, certainly birthdays are fine, but it's sort of like, that's harder to do unless it's a campaign that goes over a lot of time.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, things like that.
I've certainly, in the, I don't know, fucking 19 years I've played D&D, this goddamn thing. I've certainly witnessed D&D weddings.
Yeah.
I've
think-
been involved in them as one of the spouses.
Mm-hmm.
They're fine. They're very hard to do if you to try to include all of the players.
Yeah.
In
which is the
Carrion
main
Crown,
issue. Yeah, in Carrion Crown, had Jess not like died horribly halfway through that campaign, mine and her characters were a couple.
Yeah.
In like the middle of Slash Carmack, they decided, fuck it, let's get married. We're probably gonna die horribly. We should do it.
Yeah.
Right? And then unfortunately, that could have led to, oh, hey, in like when we get to the capital, we have a small ceremony,
Mhm.
right? But unfortunately, one, the game fell apart because it's a disaster of an adventure path. And two,
I
Jess became very unwell.
just became unwell. It's a disaster on Adventure Path, and I've be honest, like a combination of a lot of player issues and my own issues running it, also kind of thing. Like it was like,
I think if we would attempt it again, it would go fine.
yeah,
Because
my
we
second
all
character,
kind of know now to take common as a first language. And we also
Yeah.
know to build functional characters.
yeah.
my second character was totally
Your
fine.
second character was great.
I think it's,
Ling,
yeah.
however, was not.
I think like
Ling was a terrible abomination.
Ling
I still
is
love
an
her.
affront to God.
Ling was.
Just the-
I have to admit, Ling was a lot of headaches, but also the funny parts of Ling made up for just
I
a lot of the other issues. You
I
know?
loved Ling, but
Ling
holy
would have been
shit.
great in a 5e game,
Yes,
hmm
but not Pathfinder.
holy shit! Ling was so funny. Like my God,
It's absolutely awful.
Harassing that man as a fox was hilarious.
that was so good.
It, it was great. Ugh.
Yeah. It was wonderful. It was a great idea. It was perfect.
Tormented man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
he
he was a bad person too. It turned out
He wasn't a great person. He was possessed by a ghost. Yes, it was kind of he didn't know he was a terrible person, but yeah, he was
I
doing
think
bad
I
stuff.
dug under his house.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Dug
And
a
like
hole and you
was
kept
barking.
Yeah.
And I think I like put a dead rat or something on his porch or something. I tormented that man as a little fox.
So rude.
It was the greatest time ever. I have to play another troll Kitsune or something.
Yeah, I think it's using your abilities in very creative and interesting ways, and that was a great way of using them that some people just wouldn't have, and that was good. That was a good part of that entire thing, and there were good parts in that game. I just think that, like,
Oh, there were
yes,
great parts in the game. Despite all the shit, I still had fun.
yeah,
I think the biggest problem with that game was, I mean, we talk about this all the time. It's rant about Karen Crown O'Clock.
Oh yeah, it's that time of day.
But I think most of the problems came down to the way the AP is presented. It's very jumbly and messy.
Yeah, because I've read through it. It doesn't really do its job of connecting anything. It gives you suggestions, but they're optional suggestions that you don't have to do. And they really shouldn't be optional. They should just be the connections.
it should have.
I've said this before. It takes until the fourth book to learn who the fucking mid villain is,
Yeah,
because it's optional to introduce him in book 1.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
it's like, by book 4, you're like, here is the leader, the supposed leader of the Whispering Way that you've been after. Ha ha! Now you know about him. Go fight him.
Yep.
Okay, he's not really the leader.
I don't know if I've ever done it before, but how awesome would it be if you run a game, and in like the first 5 sessions or whatever, you meet either one of or the like mega villain, and he's just like a totally cool dude, and he like helps you
I've
do
done
some
that before.
stuff. Yeah, and then just kind of leaves, and then later it's like, hang on, wait a minute, that guy was evil.
You know, it's like pretty cool. I've done that. It's pretty fun.
The thing is, I was thinking about it. It's like one of the things that I could have done to rewrite Carrion Crown is the major villain they introduce at the end, kind of book 5, and where he's really like, you learn about his identity. Why not make him certain things like you meet him at the funeral, and he's been hiding as a member of the Palatine Eye in the capital. And they don't know he's actually with the Whispering Way, kind of thing. Like, he's a betrayer.
Yeah.
He's been using them. So in book 5, you meet him again, and it's
He's
like
ha
he learns of, like,
I'm actually evil.
he learns, because there's like an entire thing where, like, I'm gonna say book 6 is divided into 2 halves. The first half is trying to stop the Whispering Way's plan. It's technically both of them are that. The first part is, I'll be honest, I'm just going to go over this here because it's very easy and you like learn it. They're trying to get the Whispering Tyrant out.
Yeah.
That's their entire plan. The first part is, we're going to use one of his biological relatives, because he does have those that are descendants of him from when he was mortal, and basically sacrifice him as a vessel for bringing him out of the imprisonment in a ritual. You rescue him. Then they go to try to, like, do it kind of part 2. Like, the main villain guy tries to use himself. It doesn't work. And you fight him as, like, a super monster then, because it still draws some of his power kind of thing, so he turns into, like, a mega lich monster that's not quite a lich. And you fight him in an epic duel, because he's still trying to use the artifact that they were building. The Carrion Crown!
Weird.
It's his name
Roll
now.
credit.
Get married.
Yeah.
Have a celebration.
Yeah. So then you kill him off and, call it a day. But the thing is, those 2 halves, you could set up that you learn that he disappeared right around the same time as, the guy that you're like, oh, this guy's like the last, like, living relative of, the Whispering Tyrant. He's been kidnapped. Oh, put 2 and 2 together or something like that, or find clues on it, and learn where they're going a lot better and stuff like that. There's ways of doing it. But I was going to say there that bring up Carrion Crown did bring up something else that I thought about, which is part of this personal celebrations, because it's I guess personal events more or less, because there's the funeral at the beginning, which is supposed to be personal. Now, it's a sad event, but it is a celebration of the professor's life. That's what a funeral is supposed to be, a celebration of someone that passed away.
Has a party too.
And the town has a festival. But that's more
That's
festivals.
not really personal.
Yeah, but festivals happen. But I mean the idea of, like, this is something, like, related directly to your characters and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to establish. And I think the problem with that also is that it made it hard to make more characters in like this one.
It grinds you, or it grounds you too hard to a character.
Yeah,
like an NPC.
you basically until you get to a certain point, it's really hard to introduce characters. But once you get to a certain point, just like, oh, I'm blah 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 from the Palatine Eye, here to help you.
Yeah, that was my second character.
Well, you can kind of do that by the, like, second book, but it's like, if because you've just met the Palatine Eye, it doesn't really work very well. You have to wait till like the third or
it's really
fourth.
the fourth book is when you can do it.
And even the fourth book's a stress. Like fifth book is finally where it like really works, where you're like really connecting with the Palatine Eye. Then, so it's like you go from like maybe 3 books of like in the middle of kind of figuring out Palatine Eye or something.
I think the Palatine Eye thing for my second character was a secret, though.
Yes.
I think I was just sent by the judge to help.
Very
Like the-
amusingly, both of our second characters were both Palatine Eye.
Yeah, I think you changed yours a little bit.
I changed it a little bit to be there on my own volition.
Yeah, because we were originally thinking, because I was like, I'll just make someone who's like from the Palatine Eye, and you're like, I could do that too. Because I think you were putting Zoram away because Jess wasn't playing or something.
Yeah, because Jess wasn't playing, so it felt weird.
Yeah.
So I had to put Zoram in the box.
I mean, like, yeah, I was gonna say like, book 4, I did have an idea for getting a character in because it's sort of like, why not be, something in that town involves some disappearances.
Mhm.
Be someone else that's investigating those disappearances. Like when the characters learn about that, you're in town, and if they start asking questions about that kind of thing, this other character's there, introduces themselves. That's the first session. There you go. It's like, hey, I'm investigating this too. Why don't we work
you can
together?
even have them bump into the person as they're asking questions.
And after you help them out, they're like, hey, you helped us out. We got this other issue. Do you want to help us with that then, too? We were really here looking into that issue. And, learning about the other connections there, So you sort of like, I think that's why, like, honestly, Rise of the Rune Lords works better, because each one of these things, most of them have, like, here's a story, it is connected with the others in a way, but here's a problem still going on. Oh, hey, someone could be involved in this problem and introduce to someone new. I feel like, it sidetracked a little bit, but
Mega
back to personal celebrations.
yeah.
They've come up technically in Skull and Shackle
Yeah.
a few times.
Yeah.
When we got the boat, we had a big feast.
Mhm.
When we got Tidewater Rock, we had another big pirate feast.
Mhm.
We're gonna have another big pirate feast when we tame this island.
Yeah.
Assuming
Eat the
we-
Cyclops.
Assuming that no one else dies to coconuts.
That coconut damage. Oh man, you just rolled slightly higher. He just dead.
It's
He's
technically
dead.
it's all it is. It's the exact
It's
same
Hurl
thing.
Rock.
It's boulder.
It's the boulder that a treant throws. It's
Yep.
just flavored
Yeah.
as a coconut. They're like
It's Hurl Rock except for it's
a really
Hurl
big
coconut.
coconut.
it was. I'm like, it's just reflavored, but it's hilarious.
Yeah. I may or may not have looked at a certain part of the adventure path just because I was curious.
I'm just saying, they really hate people that use fire, and he fireballed them with a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
He was
Yeah.
a target. I'm like,
Double coconuts.
I mean, honestly, he lived that crit. The third, what was it, like the 14, which wasn't enough to critical, or 13
It's
or
like
something?
1 or 2 less than his AC to confirm a crit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be 100% honest. I would have felt for the dude, because making a high level Pathfinder character fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But if your AC is that low, I feel no sympathy for the guy.
I don't know if this is his first Pathfinder character, so I think there's some issues that he made with his Pathfinder character. I don't know how much Eric helped. Sounds like he made some interesting choices, but there's also some not as great
Since
choices.
decisions.
It's Ling 2.0.
Well, it's functional at least. They know common. At the very least, he knows common.
Hey, I could speak Elven. I talked to the party.
He talked to one of the
Half of
party.
them.
Talk to half the party.
Yeah, like 2 of the 4 people.
And then stared blankly during any monologue.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because everyone talked in comments. It's like, okay, I don't understand what's going on.
I mean, we should.
It was great.
We just explain later what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked playing Ling. It's just like, I don't think Ling would be a good character for an adventure path. I think Ling would be fine for a more casual game.
I agree.
Because they'd have more time to like grow and develop as opposed to pushing a narrative.
Yeah.
And I think it's certain adventure paths are better than others. Like Skulls and Shackles is much better for like you can actually develop characters in, because there's a lot more like weird downtime. You're on a boat.
Hey,
Oh.
you have weeks of boat travel. You could learn a language.
Ling 2.0, here we go.
Hell yeah! You just make a super high level Pathfinder character and join for the last book.
Ling just shows up and nukes things.
Ling shows up and eats Harrigan.
He's dead before the last book. You resolve him the next book.
Yeah, well, Ling finds the corpse in the
Yeah.
last book and eats it.
You gonna eat that?
You can eat that. That still is one of my favorite things where you were like, I'm contemplating eating that. I'm like, the guy, apparently the crazy man, his monkey brought him a rat from the ship to eat, and you're
Yeah,
like,
man.
I'm contemplating eating
I
that.
don't want that rat.
I kind of want that rat. I'm like, oh my god. That was great. Look.
I don't know if I've done celebration stuff in any of my games.
No, I don't think so.
You need reason for it for a reason. Like,
It's hard. It's also partly on the players as well, because in that super cursed game where I played an elf who turned into a kitsune.
You did have a small celebration after you beat up the crab, the giant crab.
Yeah, we beat up
Because
the
you guys
crab.
wanted to eat the crab, and it's like, I don't think you should eat
I
the
didn't
crab.
want to eat the crab.
But I think what ended up happening is
Joe wanted to
Joe wanted to eat the crab, and I was like,
I think
are you
he
sure it's
paid-
edible?
I think he paid for a big feast or whatever.
He did,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that did kind of. We mostly glossed over it, though. I think I don't know how much roleplay
Yeah,
was
I mean,
involved.
in most games, in a lot of games, not most, because some tables they don't do this. It's a possibility that a player character will end up together with an NPC,
Mhm.
and sometimes you will have a little wedding like that, and they're very difficult to do. But if you can do them right, they're pretty cool.
Mhm.
Because I know that there's the wedding in Children of Wrath between a skeleton man and a fish monster.
Now, I have to say, I had that one, honestly, because, yeah, it was between Skeleton Man and Fish Monster, because Lee was planning on popping off, and so this was a good time to kind of establish, we're leaving on our honeymoon to go on an adventure to, make me human again, or something, or make me mortal again. So, that was, an interesting part of that storyline, and that was a good reason for that celebration. It was like a celebration of his character going off. Honestly, I would have had something more for Linz if I understood what Linz wanted to do, but Wintress confused me.
It's very difficult to understand what Lynn wants to do.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Wintress did some stuff. It was fun. That's about it.
I'll tell you, if Carried Crown had gone to completion and there weren't, Jess didn't have to bounce, at most, it would have been, hey, we go to a priest, probably with the party, because ideally we were all friends, I guess.
Ling was a priest, sort of.
Ling was an abomination.
Here, now eat this heart. You are now married.
Yeah, go get ceremony cast, and then we, go deal with shit.
I will leave you this ceremonial dead bird in your bed to mark your newly wed life.
Allow me to serenade your honeymoon. Bark, bark, bark.
No, it's the dying scream.
Scream, yeah.
That's where I hear you've written your own vows. I will repeat them in my native language.
Just scream.
Yeah.
That's an NPC now.
Yeah.
The fox lady that screams at weddings.
Just fox priest that screams.
I have actually had in one game, which we managed to somehow make it work, two PCs getting married. The reason behind it was one of them was cursed to fall in love with the other one, and the other one,
no.
the other one was it was this was the kind of so we had the half dragon sorcerer fell in love with the gnome cleric, and she was like, I get my dowry from my parents, right? Great, we're getting married. She was really greedy.
Fair enough.
And she was like, sure, we can. It was like she was just like, okay, we can have some children, but go get me some extra money and stuff. Because he's a half-dragon sorcerer. He's a beefcake sorcerer. Half-dragon's a 3rd edition. Get +8 strength. He had like a 20 strength, and he's a sorcerer. He was buff sorcerer.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. He went out and murdered shit. You know, that character led an interesting team of characters, I have to say. But, you know, he was also an idiot and not great at being, like, a husband at all. But, you know, she put up with him because, honestly, at that point in time, he was leading the party and getting them a lot of money. So, she was okay with this. And she got her dowry, too.
Yeah.
So, like, it was hilarious. And then, like, what was it? There was a point in time where he needed something, and he's like, I know, I'll use my wedding ring. And afterwards, he has spent, like, a day reforging it because he wrecked it, you know? And it was like, that worked because it was hilarious. And the wedding was fine. We did a very simple thing. It was a lot more narration. A little bit more was at the party afterwards kind of thing, you know? We kept it simple. They weren't going to have the other 2 characters in their wedding party because one of them was an idiot they harassed and the other one was Blaze, and Blaze was just kind of the ranger that was there with I think like a giant tiger or something.
Oh, hell yeah.
Fair.
Well, the other one was the
most powerful creature in Pathfinder.
It's a big old tiger. Yeah. I mean, like, I think the 4th party member was their poor druid who got harassed, and honestly, you know.
But could they turn into a tiger?
And I made the joke of why, like, they kept resurrecting him because it was 3rd edition. They don't have rules for not resurrecting people, and he kept getting like killed some ways. And he's like, I would like to stay dead, and I'm like, but according to my intro, you write the story. And he's like, I'm not a bard. Look, that game was my first 3rd edition game, but anyway,
yeah,
the event worked, and it was a fine event, and it was brought upon in a funny way, but, you know, it could have just been the one character falls in love with the other, but, you know, and that would have been that, you know, from the entire curse. But the other one was like, I'm going to exploit this, get married, and get all the money from my rich parents.
Hell yeah. Take that, rich family.
Fair enough, right?
I mean, they went with it and rolled the dice, and it was interesting. But it was a personal thing, and I think there are certain other things, like there's certain other personal stuff which it's harder to do. Like, I guess a team's personal victory, like as you were saying, Kelmer paying for a party for us, you know.
Yeah.
That's a personal celebration. But things like, if you're already married, an anniversary. Something related to if you have children. I've played characters that have children. Didn't really do anything with that. I know.
Weird.
I actually, well, I can't say that Uncas Cole has 11 children. They don't come up, so.
The ones when we visited the town for like some stuff.
The 2 important ones came up.
Yeah.
There was like a super nerd and someone else.
Super nerd and then a businessman.
Yeah. It's like
Ling will plane travel there and date your nerd daughter.
I think Carrion already wants to do that.
Well, Carrion is a horrible demon.
Well, it's sort of like I used technically my relationship with the wife character I invented to put me more in the story in Rise of the Runelords when we were doing that. One of the main families in town, I invented another daughter of that family, and I had been a retainer that was adopted by them because I was a hobgoblin. I fell in love with the daughter, and we basically kind of eloped.
Ran away.
And then the father kind of because in order to keep us in town, kind of accepted us, but we both went into like as I think it's like we both kind of ran away to become like protect scouts that help protect the town. You know, we would be like we were part of like the defense forces, but we go like, you know, wander out into the wilderness, make sure there's no monsters or, you know, invading armies or anything dangerous.
Were
around.
you Earth Defense Forces?
Totally, probably.
No, that's different.
We were both archers because I was a hobgoblin archer and just murdered the shit out of things. Anyway, probably different. But anyway, and so like, you know, we created a relationship, and I had this, and I tried to do stuff with that, but it was like an adventure path is a little harder because it's sort of like you have to allow for the story almost. Like I try to allow for some of the story, especially in like Skulls and Shackles. Like I have to be honest. The HR box? That entire thing is just like...
That's a thing, yeah.
That was a thing. It was silly.
It's a mimic now.
It's a mimic now. It's like...
That was a thing.
It was a thing.
Best part? They still don't ever yet put all those complaints in.
I was trying to think of the most petty complaints that are like not real complaints.
One of the complaints, if they had like dug through the box, was going to be about Jacob, and the complaint was literally isn't Nat.
Oh.
Well, I'm assuming like an easy one is like, what's that smell from the kitchen? It's like, it's a kitchen. Sometimes things don't smell great until after the food is made. You know, it's sort of like, it's just like, what?
Yeah, Nat's level 9 now, I guess, if she returns. So she has wings now.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, she had wings before.
You can have someone to talk to again.
Look, I think it's one of those things that when the story has to, in a way, allow for it. Whether or not you specifically allow for a personal story or open up for something personal that could be a personal celebration.
Yeah.
In a terrible adventure path, I've been told, Storm King's Thunder, when you're leaving the first town, which may or may not be optional, there's like a downtime like event thing where basically it's like you can let the players talk and do stuff right now, and then you interact with the one dude. He says all these things, right? I also think it says that you can bother him enough that he won't talk to you anymore, which is kind of funny. But yeah, you in adventure paths or campaigns or whatever that are like books stuff, you kind of have to set aside the time to do that.
I know that when I was a player in Lost Mines a long time ago, when we finished Lost Mines and you get the manor and you're supposed to get like 10% of the mine's profit, which is one hell of a reward and kind of makes it so why would your player characters ever continue to do anything, because they're just gonna be fucking loaded.
Yeah.
We had a big celebration for our manor. Because hey, we have a fucking manor now.
Yeah.
You know, we threw a big village-wide party.
I think this does relate heavily to downtime in a way. It's like a subset of downtime, which I'm not sure if we talked about downtime very heavily.
I don't know if we've ever talked about downtime.
I like downtime.
I think it's needed.
I'm gonna make that as a thing that come up is downtime general. I'm gonna call it general. So like relating to that, like because you need that downtime for a personal celebration. Even if it's not a lot, like you need like a break somewhere in the action that allows for it to take place. There's different types of downtime that can work for it. Like I'm going to take for example, you know, granted, the funeral at the beginning of Carrying Crown, it is a scripted one because it's supposed to be done. There could be other funerals. Like if you want to hold a funeral for an NPC you knew that died, like an actual funeral for them, you could. Or like if a player character passes and someone else is making a new character, you could have a funeral for them.
I just remember the beginning of Carrying Crown.
It's not great. They give you downtime after 5 seconds, basically.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Stupid outfit and the fact that the villagers
show
want
up
to fight you.
in a fucking high heels and a swimsuit.
I think it was like a diving suit, so like covered my whole body.
Yeah, it was a diving suit with high heels, but I'm like...
I believe my comment on that was, is this the kind of people the professor knew?
But like, they have an argument in common. So Ling had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And then there was combat, and I think I did a lightning breath or something.
Yeah.
And may have killed a man.
No one died in that combat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
That's more how
tried to cut someone's head off. I remember that.
Oh, there was something that was like a critical hit or something.
There was something going on that I made a mistake, and the mistake caused Anne to murder someone. Basically.
Yeah, I think we had to rewind time.
Oh, because I'm like, oh wait, this person has this thing here. They would have been
like
okay.
if anyone like dies in that combat, you like immediately just get fucking thrown out the village.
It's terrible because it's again like I think it's that thing that like it comes down to that's problems to characters and builds and stuff that they weren't great for carrying Crown, especially for a funeral. I don't know how to handle Anne and Ling in the funeral. I mean, like, I'm very
Anne was
tasteful.
a treasure.
Anne was. I liked Anne in ways, but I feel like Anne was more of a challenge than it needed to be. Umber put a challenge in
Ling
front of
got
himself.
better.
Well, it's the
Ling
thing that-
did. Ling learned common.
I think it's like Anne was fine conceptually in a way, but I think it's like the way that it was role played was like a challenge that Umber put in front of himself that wasn't really needed.
Yeah.
He relaxed a little bit on that, which was
He
good,
did.
but
Did.
it's hard to give yourself challenges like that. I gotta be honest.
Yeah. What else can I say? I know, like, yeah, funerals are a big one because PCs die, beloved NPCs die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. In Friday, Klaxon died.
Yeah, he died. We buried him.
Mhm.
Yeah. We didn't really have a. It was kind of like a casual, kind of like because it was your character, Valentine or whatever. You knew like funeral rites.
Yeah.
And
I
we basically
buried
like
the big man.
yeah. We actually spent a fair bit of time like talking about how to like bury the body and if you
Yeah.
mark it and like. So that came up.
I think it ends up being that these are good to have in your game. You just have to figure out when and how you can get them to work. It's sort of like, and don't force it. Allow the PCs to do
Yeah,
it.
because there are instances where, especially in Adventure Paths, where if someone fucking dies, you don't got the time to mourn or bury them.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
But
Yep.
I mean, like later on, you could give some kind of celebration or eulogy. Like someone could like bring it up, like, hey, we're finally relaxing here. Let's have some kind of like a wake for that for
Yeah.
what's his face, or something like that.
Probably won't happen in the game, like in the playing game time. But my character Yoshiko, she took like his amulet or something, like one of his personal effects, and she's gonna take it back to his homeland.
Yeah, that'll probably be a post-game thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's so far away.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, we're on a time limit despite having like 1 billion miles to travel.
I don't know if one time I'm
At least the date was mentioned. That feels like a time limit.
Right. Oh, I forgot about that.
Well, it's like what was I gonna say? There's a lot of stuff that I feel like is just going to be. It comes down to like a lot of personal stuff that comes down to resolution.
Yeah.
Like post things where you just kind of go over it, especially post adventure or post campaign. You save a lot of that stuff and just like put that there. Like, hey, Nathan got married to Candy in Legacies of Kain.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I think he made her a vampire, and the two of them got married and stuff, and we're gonna have like eternal life running like horrible, scammy mob gyms in New York.
I mean, fair enough.
And she was the prostitute with a heart of gold. It was, but it was like she might have been a ghoul. I don't know if you wanted to go the full distance. I don't know what the entire plan was. I can't remember. But it was sort of like he built a relationship over the course of the game with her, and eventually was like, hey, let's get married, And I was a big commitment for his character, and I liked that they did it naturally, and they kind of
Like
included it there.
in the many games that took place in Cursed Foxland, the Lightning's world, Viren got married in between games.
Yeah.
That was a thing that got established at the end of one of them.
I think
Yeah,
it's
that big sexy black one, man.
Yeah.
I think it's the thing that you can build the personal relationships with others and groups that allow for these personal events, whatever kind of event it is, whether it's like celebration of victory, celebration of love, celebration of an end. You get those, and just it's good for, I think, in a way, the story, because when we're telling these stories, we want them to feel personal and real, and this kind of thing does make a game feel personal and more real, because these things happen. People die, people live, people have families, people evolve. So certainly that's not the only one that I don't know how I do is like a big birthday celebration. I guess if you're the type of character,
birthdays are so, like, I feel like a lot of adventurers don't care about their own birthday.
I feel like if you're the type of person that would want to celebrate your birthday and you bring it up to a DM, like if someone would like if one of you would come to me during like, you know, say like Skulls and Shackles, be like, hey, I'm a person that cares about my birthday and I think let's have my birthday or something. I want to have a celebration to it. I'm like, cool, bring it up to the players, we can add it in. You know, I can account for that, for having some kind of birthday celebration.
I know that something that is possibly going to come up is when Misty returns, and I have to do a little bit of research into it.
Mm-hmm.
She is going to either by herself or include the party, do a kind of a Varisian holiday thing.
That'd be nice.
Celebration.
Well,
And I have to look up which one it is, because they're weird holidays. And they only have 2 of them.
It's good to have some holidays, but it's sometimes hard to include those, unless you're just doing, like, it's a festival. It's this, you know?
Yeah, it's like one of the big religious things. And Misty is, I think, the most religious character in the party. Because, honestly, Besmara isn't really a religion.
No, Besmara is not. And Sel's like, I am the high priest of Besmara. And people are like, really?
Is not really a religion.
Well, it's like I keep being like, Besmara's like, yep, go ahead, good for you.
I hope she sees this, bro. Besmara don't give a shit what you do, dude. She's too busy killing people in the fucking whirlpool or whatever.
Yeah, she's knifing people and she's doing pirate stuff in the heavens, because that's all she wants to do. Pirate till the end of time, or sail.
Yeah.
I don't know. No.
Ride or die.
But
true.
Shall we talk about our week? Is our game of weeks or week of games? That's what
we had games.
Anybody have anything Saturday or Sunday?
So that's Saturday. No, that's Sunday. Yeah, that's the day.
That's when I ran a game.
Yeah. I
Things
didn't know
happened.
Saturday. Things happened. We fought a goo man in the forest.
Yeah. Did you already talk about the first session? From
Yes.
last week? Maybe I wasn't here.
I believe we talked about the first session.
Yeah. I don't remember. That was a week ago.
We went to go fight bandits in the forest. Someone was a little confused on a road situation.
Yeah, that might have been on me not
As
explaining
it
good,
happens.
but
we went into the forest. We captured the bandits because, fun fact, we're military. We don't actually want to murder them all, I guess.
I mean, you could have murdered them if you
We
wanted.
did pretty non-lethal. We figured they might have information.
Well, I think also military would be more capture, stand trial
I
for
know
their crimes.
My character is lawful neutral, so doesn't want to murder everyone. I don't know about the other people.
Yeah.
I think one of you is chaotic good, and the other one might be neutral good, or just neutral.
But yeah, we captured them, and then a weird monster showed up that screamed at a man, and he started convulsing and foaming at the mouth, and then we stabbed the shit out of it. And by we, I mean I stabbed the shit out of it because
You and a lizard.
Yeah, the others didn't do. We have a problem in this game, and the problem his name is Cell. Anytime Cell's character does anything, he has to roll this wild magic check, and that can just end up he's going to kill himself. So we try to stay about 30 feet away from him at all times.
Actually moved like 20 feet away from people.
Yeah, we try to stay away from him because he can just fireball himself and die and take everyone with him.
Yeah.
Which is why I hate wild magic source.
I think Cell hit it, but like whatever attack you used was like resisted or something. There was a couple attacks you guys did that it was like, that doesn't really do anything.
I know someone used necrotic damage.
Yeah, I don't think that did. It might have done nothing or did very little.
Yeah, because I know they got told the deaded.
Yeah, that was the cleric.
At some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we fought a goo monster and then we killed it and it exploded into goo. Now we're heading
Yeah.
back to town.
Bruce.
It could have done a lot more, but like these people with 2 weapon attacks went against it and rolled incredibly
2
high.
weapon fighting is kind of gross.
It's pretty disgusting. I mean, it had high AC and pretty good hit points, but you just rolled really well. So it's like, well, normally it runs away, but it can't because it's gonna die before its turn comes up. So it's like, what would
Yeah.
this goo thing do? I know,
It-
it explodes.
It's wild playing a monk and feeling useful.
Yeah.
Wow, I wouldn't
It
know
was
that feeling.
basically- Oh, yeah, Banner, the character that if died, the story would have ended because they were the story.
Oof.
I was telling this to someone. I don't remember who it was, but there was a computer terminal and the password was Banner. But when
Oh,
you
for
stepped away
fuck's-
from the computer turned off because it had like a Banner detector on it, and only Banner could read the writing. So basically, in character, it was kind of like, I'm gonna pass this off to Rimby, who's really smart and intelligent. Oh, it shut off. Okay, well I guess I'll sit back down, and then Banner has to read everything from the computer to the smart person because they can't read or access it.
Nice.
It was
Uh,
a
lovely.
event.
That was a decision that happened in that game.
Yeah.
There were many decisions in that game that were
I've heard
interesting.
about that game.
I think like it's the problem with that game is it wasn't a terrible game. There's a core of good in the game, but it's also like there was a lot of like just bad
It was
decisions
Mega
too.
Railroad.
It was
Oof.
very railroady. I think that was the
Unfortunate.
big complaint. Yeah.
And it was the railroad where there's like 2 cars on the train. So yeah, you can go to this car, but you're still on the train.
And I think it's also like it's hard to use the system that we were using was like an entire system that was built around a world setting, and we were only using like
We didn't
30
use like 1% of the system. The only thing we used was the map, and we didn't really do that because the worlds were made up and placed on the map. And we used the ships, so the travel system, but we used our own version of the travel system and not the travel system from the book. And we used the weapons and gear. And most of us didn't even do that because we had a monk who doesn't use armor. We had a sorcerer who doesn't use armor or weapons. We had
Rogue who used some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the rogue got a weapon, I think. And
Yeah,
maybe
got like
some armor.
Rogue wanted to be a Jedi, and Joe wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
their non legally distinct version of Jedi.
Yeah.
I think I think they got the energy blade. at
Yeah, they
least.
got the energy blade. There was a feat that basically was Jedi. Basically, it was deflect bolts or something.
Yeah. hmm And then we just had science nerd in armor Rimby, who honestly, as Unfunny One said, they kind of hampered themselves changing to the class that fit with that. But
Yeah, they actually like basically went down in power by changing.
still, I
'Cause they
mean,
were artificer and they changed to something else.
it was like something they had in the book that was like a type of artificer or something. But it was like an armored
Yeah.
artificer or something. It was interesting.
It was something, but I still say that the lore written in that book and some of the systems that they added were good. We just didn't use them.
We didn't use enough of it. I feel like there was a dividing line that I think was bigger. We should have used more of the lore in the system, and we could have had a dividing line where it separated out and it became more Joe's stuff. But Joe wanted too much of his stuff while still using that. It's the fine line that he didn't use enough of their stuff when building it.
Yeah, if there was like a sector that was like under her control or whatever, that probably would have been a lot more interesting. But it was like this entire galaxy is under her control except for like this one planet or something, and it's just like, what the hell can us like 580s do or us 480s do against the entire galaxy?
True.
Mhm.
It was like, this is like, you got to throw us a bone here because we don't know what we're doing. So
Yeah.
that was that game.
Yeah.
But like one of the things, because the way the space combat is set up, because there's 2 versions in that book. I know we're like mega side tangent,
Very
Yeah.
side tangent, yes.
but
It happens.
there's the here's a ship stat. Everyone can do something on the ship stat, and it's just NPCs fighting each other, which is bad. It's not good. It's not fun. And then there was the other one where it's like, well, if you want to give your players more actions or whatever, you can give them like fighters or something, and they basically just have their own turn. Or you get Gundams, and I was like, I want Gundams, and we just didn't get it.
No Gundams.
I think because Gundams didn't fit Joe's idea for the game, which is unfortunate. And the thing is,
but it was in the setting, so it's like,
just do it. I think it's the idea that like he wanted ship combat, but we were trying to explain to him like the ship combat was bad.
It's bad.
It doesn't do. It feels very 5e, but the problem is I think 5e doesn't allow for that type of stuff. The system is built in such a way you have to jump through so many hoops to get to there. I think Star Wars does it better, but Star Wars is basing it off of an older version of stuff that's bringing things forward. You're not building stuff from scratch, so it's fixed because of that. And honestly, I feel like if we got into ship combat, at most some of us are just like firing or stuff. We're still not doing a lot.
One action.
We're not doing a
You
lot
get,
still.
action.
Yeah.
And mine, the worst part about mine, it was like, oh, well, you can have like mages that do stuff with magic every other turn.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a turn every other turn, and someone gets like, I shoot a gun or I move the ship. It was like it's not fun for the players.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I think it's the kind of thing is that like we had to kind of explain that to Joe. It's like, hey, the way the system is built isn't really fun. It's just the way that like trying to explain that to him like nicely was hard. But we did a good job of talking to him. But so that you had your Sunday. Did anybody have anything on a Monday or Tuesday?
We had Tuesday.
Oh, you
talk about
Tuesday.
that one, Lightning.
Oh God, the Tuesday game.
That cursed game.
Is it that?
It's not bad. It's not bad cursed. Just
it stars without numbers. And
many cursed things occur.
We had our session 1. It was kind of a session 0.5, kind of. We did a little tiny bit of retcon, but not really. And basically, we just gave more time to talk with the party on the travel, because it's like 6 days of travel. So there was a small bit of interaction, not a lot, and then we went to communist China, the planet.
The worst planet in existence.
Yeah, and basically they don't use regular money here. They use labor credits, and the conversion from credits to labor credits is awful. And no one pays in labor credits unless you get like a job. But the job waiting lists are huge. They don't pay a lot unless you're like mega skilled. And so it's like, okay, what do we do here? And so we had a bunch of jobs, and most of them are like, these jobs sound like they're killing people. And no one in the party, except for one person, was really cool with murdering a bunch of people. So all those jobs went away. There was one that sounded like it would be not murdery. It was like an escort thing. So we go here, and this guy is all cloak and dagger. But this is something I told Momo about. So I'm playing a 6-foot tall anthropomorphic fox lady with wings.
Yep.
And Momo is playing like a 5'9", 5'11" or something lizard person.
Yeah.
You're pretty tall, but not huge. Like
tall and
actual
lanky.
lizard. Yeah.
Like actual functional lizard.
And you have 4 eyes or something.
Yeah.
And then the other person with us is like a dog lady. And we go to this human man who's insanely paranoid. And he's just like, I'm glad you're here. And it's like, what? Now, we're super uncommon, I'm pretty sure, in the galaxy.
Yeah,
that's
we're
80
freaks.
to 90% human. So it's that's just a weird thing that I'm going to tease Jay about. But it's I think I understand why they aren't doing it, which is fine. I understand.
Yeah.
But so we talked to this person who's crazy paranoid, and they're out to get me. They're watching me. There's a guy who comes here every day and cleans the floors. It's like, you mean a janitor? And then it's and he's like, okay, I want you to come with me, and here's all these code phrases and stuff. It's like, I'm not remember this. I'm not gonna write any of this down. You are just a crazy person. And then it's like, okay, well, we need to go and talk to our friends and, see if we can help you. But we'll be back. We're not coming back. And as we leave, there's like, oh, hey, there's like a janitor or whatever. And he like shows up and he starts mopping. So I go over to him and I was like, I wanted to ask how his day was and like get like a vibe of like what he was. And rather than telling me how his day was, he's just like, what were you doing in that guy's office? And I was like, I don't know. Like, me as the player is like, I don't know. So I'm like, I don't know. We were getting information. And he's like, oh, information I see. Have a nice day. And, like, ended the conversation. So I'm like, okay. Now, I'm playing a pretty, like, fish out of water character. But, like, Lightning is, like, the player is like, I think I just killed that man. And we all had a pretty good laugh about that we just accidentally killed this man.
The man kind of deserved it.
I mean, he was really weird and paranoid.
Yeah.
But the other two people, because we split the party, of course.
Of course.
The other
Naturally.
two people,
As
which
you
is
do.
a boar gorilla ape monster. They have like they're like
That's
a gorilla
Jess, by the
body.
way.
Yeah, that's Jess.
Mhm.
They're like a gorilla body and like like a boar head with tusks and things.
Yeah.
And they're crouching because they walk on like all fours, like on their knuckles and their feet.
Mm-hmm.
Like walking like that, they're like 7 feet tall. So if they like stand upright, they're like 9 or 10 or something. They're absolutely enormous. And then the Frenchman, go to a WrestleMania shooting competition.
Yeah.
And
So the way it was described was it's WrestleMania, but the objective is to shoot a target.
yeah.
Okay.
So there's like a performance side and then a skill side, and there was like Ultimate Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
And when it came to Gorilla Ape person, they did the balloon walking. You like jump across these balloons.
If you
there
ever
was,
seen
like,
Wipe
some-
Out the Red Balls.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there was a monkey bars thing where they walked across that, and then there was like a almost 90-degree ramp. You run up it and like pull yourself up, and they're like, "Can I just punch my way through the ramp?" And it's like, "I guess so." So they just punch a hole through the ramp and then walk through it to go shoot the target rather than like do the obstacle.
Yeah.
The Frenchman just walked around all the obstacles just to shoot the target, because their whole persona
They're
is
the-
like to be
They're the heel
to be
in terms of
antagonistic.
in wrestling terms.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Momo, you played.
I played a cursed ass NPC for that because my actual character wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah, because you were. Oh, the rest of us ended up moving boxes. Now,
Yeah, we ended up doing an
thought-
actual job.
Yeah, we thought that it was going to be like flying a cargo ship to a destination, but it was just a lazy pilot who wanted us to load his ship.
Yeah, and he gave us like honestly way too much money for that job.
He gave us so much money, but like I guess he gave us like 10% of what he was going to get.
Yeah,
And we got like 30,000. So this was the most profitable freaking run this
Apparently.
man was going to do. But yeah, talk about your character, so I'm not talking anymore.
yeah, I played some kind of weird, horrible monstrosity NPC in this stupid wrestling thing and lost horribly.
Mm.
You teleported and
I
failed.
did a bunch of teleporting. Did a bunch of shooting. They were like a weird monkey person or bird person or something. I don't remember.
I think you described it as they were like a half harpy kind of deal.
Yeah. They were weird. It was a weird session.
Yeah.
Sometimes we were just
Um,
fine.
But we're like probably never going to come back to this planet ever
No,
again.
this planet is actual shit. I don't
I
ever
mean,
want to set foot there again.
It was funny as players to experience this, but like our characters are like, this planet sucks.
Yeah. All of us hate this planet.
Except for like maybe one person.
Well, sounds like it was
French man.
a grand old time with that
French
Frenchman.
guy.
It's-
Hey, the game is literally everyone independently made furries and still made a French person.
But
Yeah.
what is a furry if not a French person?
Apparently.
I guess? Question mark?
Sure. We had Wednesday.
Yeah, man almost died to coconut.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna say, like, honestly, like, you did try to communicate, and it was very much in character, but I'm like, that was a really poor attempt to, like, negotiate with these guys. Your role was just the icing on the cake, you know?
Yeah, the dice decided it.
Yeah, your dice decided the final thing. I'm surprised Cell just didn't try to, I'm gonna say more than hello. I'm like, I'm gonna try to negotiate.
I thought Cell was gonna do something other than say hi.
I thought Cell would have, like, asked, like, hey, do these things speak common before we left, or, like, what language they speak.
Yeah.
I went and I looked some stuff up post-game, because I was curious about some situations. Now, I won't say any spoilers, because I've read some things that haven't happened yet in the game. But I also had a conversation with Momo about this, where, like, there was, like, no foreboding, like, at all.
Yeah.
Like, not dryad, like the nymph lady narrator or whatever, she kind of mentioned something but didn't go into a lot of details. Like, she could have been like, oh yeah, people that go there, they get attacked, but she didn't say that. She just said that the Cyclopses attacked them. I thought maybe there was something else. No one did any lore checks before going there.
We didn't make any lore checks, which maybe we should have. The Arcanist should have.
Yeah, no one did, like, any.
I don't blame him for, like, missing some things and stuff like that.
Yeah, like, it happens. But,
yeah,
like,
it's fine,
I think what it was is again, it ended up fine. It doesn't matter to me whether you're at peace with them or not. That doesn't matter. But I feel like it was more trouble than it could have been in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I also looked at the actual, like, encounter details.
They assume you're gonna fight them in the encounter. I set up for, like, maybe not.
I assume it was like a DC 30.
There's
no DC. They don't give one.
No,
there is
I usually use
nothing
that
in there.
for, like, me specifically.
Oh, I didn't set anything that difficult. Honestly, to get them to stop fighting you, I put it a lot. To get them to be at peace with you, a lot harder. To stop them from throwing coconuts at you, I only set it like DC 20. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, because, like, I expect, because the mistake is Rhea doesn't fucking talk to people.
Yeah.
You can't. Rhea's a charisma character, but that charisma's all in the bluff and intimidation. It's not into persuasion. Having Rio try to negotiate with people is a terrible idea.
It was an interesting encounter that, like, it's the thing of, like, the choices weren't bad choices, but they felt all like the wrong choices, if that makes sense.
Sometimes you just make the wrong choices.
Yeah.
And honestly, aside from a man getting coconutted, realistically, all of us could have escaped fine just by leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Maybe it would have been a little harder, but we were hasted. We could have just escaped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly,
but,
like
in the book, it doesn't tell the DM anything other than they get attacked.
No, that's the problem with Pathfinder APs in my experience, is they're a little too vague in some places about how things are supposed to go.
There's no alternative. It's like you show up and get attacked, and then roll initiative.
I think it's the entire, like, the book, it gives me certain things for a lot of these areas, whether it's not you're finding treasure, whether there's no encounters, whether it's an encounter. And I gotta admit, some of these locations are just hard to find, for you guys. There's a couple of locations where I'm like, you could go there, but honestly, I have to, like, look at why you would go there. Do you give me those locations? But you guys might not visit them, Yeah. There's specifically, I'm going to say 2 locations on the map which were hard to mention. Like, I'm going to tell you, the flying reptile place, that was easy to mention. It's a big old mountain with flying reptiles on it, that people probably noticed. Whether or not you want to check that out, up to you. A lot of these other places, there are things there. There are specifically 2 locations where I'm like, they don't say jack shit about them. Like, why would you visit these? You give me information on them. They're neat. But, like, there has to be a little bit more about these locations. And There's some other stuff too that's like there, but it's fine. You know, and like the Sargasso Fiend, it was like a thing, but I'm like, you just fought those treants and they were like, this thing is CR like 9 and they were CR 8 apiece or something, and I'm like,
Yeah,
you
they were
fought 2
CR
of
8
them.
and there were 6 of them.
Technically 2 because the 6 is including them summoning
yeah, 2 are
trees.
4 of them are awakened trees. Ones are still tough, but
Yeah.
I don't know what CR an awakened tree is.
They have treant stats, except they're removing a couple of things. They can't throw. They can't
throw
awaken
rocks,
trees.
Maybe like 1 attack. Or
Yeah,
something.
they can't throw rocks and they can't awaken trees, pretty much. And literally, give me their strategy. Is the treants tell them to trample people,
Yeah.
while
trample everyone.
while they like focus on the treants themselves focus on like sundering armor and stuff like that.
Which is super dickish.
It's pretty dickish, yeah.
I forgot that they did that, honestly. Like until I was
Like
looking at that.
the book straight up tells you, one throws coconuts, the other one will just go and sunder armor. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
that's awful.
It's a little rude, yeah. But yeah, I think the session was mostly fine, and we lived, and now we're gonna go kill Cyclopses, which are much easier than treants.
Yeah,
I mean-
except for they're gonna summon treants.
I mean, there's probably going to be a bunch of criticals, and I'm going to tell you, they do like using Axis, so it's ×3.
Yeah, but they still have to confirm.
They do still have to confirm, which, honestly, it means that they'll be hitting Cell a lot. They might not be criticaling on Cell
Yeah,
a lot.
it's really hard to crit Cell with his, like, 40 AC or some shit.
Yeah, when he has a chance to, like, use all his spells, like, I feel like Cell's a very good, I'm good for one really big combat,
Yeah.
because I can buff myself to the node end. Which
I
is
just
good, but, like,
want
honestly, like, there are a lot of places that's not great in.
No.
You've been in a lot of places where it's been helpful. We'll see in the future, though.
Yep.
So that went pretty fine.
Yeah, that went fine. I ran the thing on Thursday. I need to
It was
talk
a
about it.
thing. My throat is sore as hell. Why
All
don't you
right,
talk
you,
about it?
you go ahead and talk about your game, Momo.
Alright, fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running another Grim Hollow game, basically, except in my own world that I've built.
Ooh.
Very slowly. It is a world where the sun is permanently eclipsed.
Hmm.
And it kind of is really cold all the time.
Skyrim style.
Basically Skyrim climate. At least in the area they're in is kind of the Arctic-y areas, like really far north.
We're actually just playing in the Elder Scrolls. It is the whatever the Elder Scrolls planet is, and it's post the vampires winning.
Yeah, sure.
That's the setting.
Vampires!
But yeah, they were traveling on a boat. They got to talk to people on the boat. Lightning's playing a weird noble thing.
Yeah, I have a daughter.
There's a snake person. Cell is a normal human man with 8 constitution.
He's dying.
He has 7 hit points, and I will not hesitate to kill him.
Hmm.
And then Lynn is playing a cleric in typical Lynn fashion.
Chaos.
For being a freak.
So Chaos Incarnate?
A little chaotic, yeah. Not as chaotic as past characters yet,
Oh, okay.
but they are a freak.
They believe in an imaginary god.
They believe in imaginary gods, but the gods technically do exist. I just haven't written them.
Mm-hmm.
Because the cleric was a very last-minute addition to the team.
Nice.
So I was like, well, I'll deal with it later.
It's fine, probably.
But as you were having dinner, a human man stepped outside to cough his blood out of his body.
Ah!
As he does pretty regularly, because he has the tuberculosis, I think.
Ah! That's an issue for that poor person.
Cell made these choices, I don't know why.
Cell chose to have tuberculosis.
Cell chose to be a sick old man, not even an old man, a sick dude with 8
Sick young
constitution who coughs up blood. I don't know why. It's just the decision that was made. But from a room that no one was in, they heard singing in a language they didn't understand. They went up there and left because they were probably really spooked. And then Lightning's character went outside to, I don't remember what to do. Heard the same thing, but you went up into the room, not like a coward.
I think I was gonna retire for the evening.
I think
and
so.
Heard
And you found a book
Yeah.
written in a language you don't understand because no one in the party speaks this language. And purposely made it so no one in the party speaks this language.
Too bad someone didn't have eyes of the roomkeeper or whatever.
True.
It's like, I read everything. It's like, bitch.
Yeah, and you took it to someone who did know the language, was one of the NPCs in the ship. You learned it was a storybook.
The
And then
magical divination storybook.
magical divination storybook. And as this lady read it some more, the party members heard more of the singing. So you went to investigate, and you found a masked person in robes sitting in the room, kind of like kicking their feet and humming a tune. Cell's character decided to try to sing to the character for some. There's gonna be a lot of questionable decisions in the next 5 minutes that I have to explain. Try to sing to the character.
It's fine.
The character sang back. The character then, without saying anything, said, "Do you want to play a game with me?" Cell immediately agreed. So they did a tarot reading. Cell, questioning nothing, continued to do this. And then tried to explain the fortune, explained it wrong. As this individual started explaining, pointing to all the cards, they started singing and pointing to the cards, and then events started happening. No one decided to stop them from doing anything. As, the first card, things got, dark and misty, and the seas got rougher, and a bunch of other shit, right? Eventually they just disappeared. After they looked at the final card, vanished. The cards were burned into the table, and a bunch of the crew members had fallen over dead. They came back.
They were dead.
You didn't know they were dead.
What's up?
They came back as puppets. Then the party had to fight a bunch of puppets. How did you like the puppet fight? Aside from fucking up your really cool maneuver.
Oh my god! And Tantus is walking away too.
Yeah,
man.
real sad.
I had this cool unfurl the wings and jump over there and fly within 25 feet and then drop down and whip them.
Yeah, you rolled
and I rolled an 8.
Yeah, you rolled really low.
We rolled a lot of low. We didn't do anything on the second round of combat. It was 3 rounds of combat, and everyone missed on freaking round 2. And then you're like, I'm just gonna have this NPC show up. And I'm like, no, we got this. She doesn't help us.
Which is fine because it turns out that I didn't have the NPC statted anyways.
Yeah. And the captain killed the one I had. The one I actually did hit.
Yeah. Shot it with a gun.
Because I missed it, and then she killed it. As a setup, I think it's good. I have my own personal preferences on villains and stuff, and they're probably not going to be a major villain, which in my opinion is good because they'd be really annoying. I would do everything I could to kill them because they're stupidly annoying.
I will say they're not a major villain.
Yeah, but that kind of fits for what they are because they're I guess they're a fey creature.
Yeah, you kind of got a little bit of information. It might be some kind of fey creature.
Yeah. The reason I didn't just murder them is because that's incredibly rude.
It's pretty rude.
So the captain was like, I'm going to shoot this person. It's like, oh, they haven't done anything yet. They're just on the boat, weirdly. Maybe it's a ghost or something, so you wouldn't do anything anyway, right?
I returned from being interrupted by family.
Nice.
But it was nice interruption, so let's chat for a second.
But yeah, I thought the puppet fight went pretty good. They had a round of being prone, which helped us a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we're level 1, we can very easily be killed.
Yeah.
We didn't level up.
True. No. But... You'll level up later. You deserve it.
If I had hit that flying super
attack, maybe if you hit that super attack, you would have leveled up.
Yeah, I would have leveled up. That was one of my goals.
Yeah. And you just 1 XP short.
Yeah. And then we ended up burning all the bodies.
Yeah, they were made of wood at the end. I don't know. Cell took their hearts out, which were weird fractured stones.
Cell's a surgeon.
Cell's an evil character, I think.
They're definitely not good. I mean, I'm not good either, technically.
I think anyone in the party is good, which is fine because that's how I describe the world.
Yeah. I was going to play an evil character, and Mom was like, maybe don't. And I'm like, okay, I'll just drop down to be, instead of lawful evil, to be lawful neutral.
Yeah, that's fine.
Even though what I've done in the past could be considered evil.
I mean, yeah,
But no one knows about that, and no one will know about it. Because I will kill them if they find out.
it's true.
You will murder them horrible dead.
Yeah, you made it to town. You met with an innkeeper who tried to very much upcharge you in gold because you're foreigners and you don't. Foreigners are easy targets, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But you met with the kind of the acting mayor and dealt with some stuff, and that's kind of where the session ended.
Mm-hmm.
And the session will pick up with me presenting a bunch of quests to help the town because it's a very town-oriented game.
My town, I will own it.
Maybe.
I didn't have Children of Wrath because, well, we were down someone, and honestly, we're at, like, we are literally at 3 sessions. Like, I'm telling you, I'm
How long
the.
have you been at 3 sessions?
Not that long, actually. For a couple of weeks now, because we missed a session. We had a session where we were missing Momo, and so I didn't want to go into the final stuff without Momo, necessarily. And then we missed a session now. So, we've been at 3 sessions for 3 weeks. Because we haven't really had a session. We had the one last week where I had to, like, jackass it because, like, I'm at the end. And honestly, they made the decision to go to the moon.
I don't like that decision.
I feel like you shouldn't have let them do that.
It's fine. The moon will be like maybe like an hour at most. Like, there's nothing on the moon. I've like said to them, there's like nothing there. I don't know what they're looking for.
Be nice to me. I'm gonna take it back, or I'll just fucking leave them.
Probably should anyway.
They're fucking exiled into the moon.
They really deserve it sometime. Well, some of them do definitely deserve to just be exiled on the moon.
One of them specifically.
Yes. You're the moon's problem now. Good luck.
The moon's problem.
Kaz, it's the moon's problem now.
I mean,
Kaz
Kaz
is an
probably destroyed the moon.
actual villain.
He is kind of the... I mean, there's some other villains, but he's like the worst villain.
He broke like all laws of nature and created an affront to God.
Yeah. A couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's... The more I think about it, like I've mentioned, I was originally going to make that weird angel paladin thing.
Yeah.
I feel like, along the line, it's good I didn't join early and make that, because one of two things would have ended up happening. Either one, that character would have left and I would have made a new character, or two, I would have killed Kazun.
Yeah. I just, I might make it 2 sessions, honestly. I might combine sessions 3 and 2 together.
Just get it
quickly.
done.
I might just do that. I just might combine like part of those 2 together and just make 1 session for the finale. Just make it quick,
Rip it off like a band-aid.
Because the thing is, like, with all these breaks and stuff and making it very hard, it makes me kind of want to do it that way.
No, that's fair. And I am like at the point where I don't want to be in the game anymore.
That's what happened with my game. Some things happened that made me not want to run it anymore, and so I changed how it was going to end and ended it earlier, like several months earlier, because there was a whole plot line that I just threw away.
Yeah.
There have been multiple plot lines that I just threw away for various reasons. One time,
reuse them.
And another one for, like, I had actually a lot more plot line involving the goddamn circus and using that for certain things. The way they reacted to that just was like, oh, I'm throwing this out the window.
The one in Urberg or whatever?
Yeah, they reacted like so...
I
don't know what the hell was going on with their reaction.
It was, like, fine, but everyone suddenly didn't trust anyone after many sessions of trusting people too much.
Yeah, it was like the complete opposite of, like, there was a lot of routes that I thought they would take. I didn't think they would be like, destroy them, they're evil and against us and trying to murder us and stuff like that. And I'm like, there was like a couple of routes I thought you'd take, and this was like, didn't feel like anything you guys would take ever. It felt so out of character, so I was just like, whatever, I'm throwing this out the window. I don't want to deal with it. If you're going to be this, like, weirdly paranoid or having problems or something, I'm like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't know.
I've definitely ended games before I wanted to.
Yeah, we might have had a deeper discussion about that too.
We should probably actually. Like, it's actually a pretty important topic.
Yeah,
I don't know if we have or not.
I don't think we've had it.
I don't think we've had that kind of talk.
No, we add to the list then.
I'll call it cutting a game short.
Just run another Magic the Gathering game, but in a cooler plane that isn't.
Or
Dominaria.
don't run Magic the Gathering because it's awful.
I mean, like, honestly, like, the lore is fine. A lot of the lore is interesting and neat, and a lot of the worlds could be fine. But I think, like, even Dominaria is a fine, got interesting stuff to it. I just feel like a lot of what they've done has, like, removed some of that interest and stuff like we had early on.
I hate both of those characters. Joe's fine. Joe's character's fine. Claude, is whatever. I like Claude. The other two, I actually
He's just
hate.
an abomination.
Well, the thing is, like, I feel like Claude is Frankenstein's monster trying to be human, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not a bad story.
Claude is actually a character.
Yeah. Even Maxwell was trying to be a character. He was like, I'm this other, like, kind of weird monster, but I don't understand that I'm a monster, you know? I'm a skeleton, but I'm like, I'm going to be jovial and play around and have fun and stuff like that and, like, be still alive a lot more, you know? It's like, it was like they were two aspects of the same coin that I've liked when they work together because they're both, like, these experiments, but both of them have embraced what their changes and what they're becoming a lot more. Like, Maxwell's like, I remember my life, but I can still have a wonderful life, and Claude's like, I'm this weird monster that was created for this horrible things, but I want to build a life. And I like both of them as characters. Even Wintress was just this weird chick that had a lot of character, a lot more than I feel sometimes than, like, Carrie or Kaz have become, kind of.
One of them is Goblin Artificer, and the other one is Demon. Those are their character traits.
Basically, yeah.
But from what I've seen of, like, the story, and this could be speak from me watching it play out.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a terrible world, and I would not want to play in it because it just sounds awful.
It's mostly, I think it's mostly because of Kaz.
Yeah.
It's mostly because of Kaz.
It could just be because of Kaz and Carrie just making bad choices.
They make bad choices all the time. I'd say, like, it's like, I have to say, like, there's a lot of things in this world that are fine. Like, I think, like, I feel like Kaz has interpreted goblins, and I have to run off of him a little darker than I would have taken it. I would have taken a little lighter in the end to make them feel a little bit more civilized. But I still would have kept a little bit of that, like the way that they've been displayed in, like, old Pathfinder and stuff, like, you know. And
my goblins are the best goblins.
And Carrie just makes terrible choices. I'm telling you, Urborg is a shit place.
Yeah,
it's the shittiest country, and they have a couple of volcanic countries. But honestly, like, she was fine. Like, they've civilized. They're a country that's a volcanic country that, like, they made a council. They met the council. You know, it's like these people have, like, you know, they were at war with each other in a very savage land, and they were like, hey, you know what? Let's make something of this. Let's make a council between all of our races. Let's try to build a nation. You know, it's like, yes, I'm proud of, like, you know, that, like, I had Nim being like, oh, I'm gonna help the Keldans remain stable. You know, the warlords that were barbarian people that were, like, basically they were the Vikings of this world, except they sailed all the way around the world, you know, and they were, like, you know, a much more powerful nation even than, like, the Vikings were in our time, you know, because they had magic. But I'm trying to be like, they kind of modernized and got away from that, like, let's raid and murder everybody culture to be like, we can still be warriors. And they're like, well, there's some people that want to go back to the old ways, and Nim's trying to help them keep on that path of being, like, you know, I guess, like, next generation Klingons rather than, you know, like, original series Klingons. There you go. There's a Star Trek reference added in.
Fair.
Anyway, yeah, Children of Wrath, it's a thing.
It's a mess.
It'll be
needs
done.
to end.
It's I have to just get them to the moon and get them off of the moon and get them to the next part quickly, and I think that'll see how we can...
Just have a really tall, weird alien person on the moon.
There's no one on the moon. I'm going to tell you, there's nothing on the moon. Everything is dead there. They will not fight anything. They will find some information out, and we'll call it a day. That's it.
How long will that take, though?
I hope less than an hour, but I have no idea what plans they're going to do because I don't know at all.
I mean, what I've learned, if I'm not there, nothing happens. They don't progress. So if I'm there, I'll just force them along.
Please, just be like, we found the information we need. I mean, like, what they can learn. I guess I'll have them learn a little bit more about power systems that they use, so maybe you can easier disable them once you get into the Sky Fortress.
Yeah,
There you
I
go.
mean, it'll become, hey, we found the information. Get in here in 10 minutes, or you're stuck on the moon forever, assholes.
Because again, like, it's a dead thing. It's basically like it's the Death Star, except it's got no atmosphere and it's got a giant hole through it, and there's nothing there. Think of it that way, because it kind of is the Death Star.
You know the fun thing about atmosphere is people need it or they blow up.
Well, I think I said there was like enough atmosphere to like count as an atmosphere, but it's
an
not
artificial construct. It rules.
Yeah.
The same rules don't apply.
I just like throwing.
It's just there's no air there.
A tiny bit of reality.
Oh, they were smart enough to be like, let's get 2 necklaces of adaptation for the 2 people that need air to breathe, at least.
Yeah, I bet those have pressurized atmosphere around you, because without it you would actually just explode and die.
Yeah. I don't know how much of a low pressure people can take. That's a good question. Because there's going to be some pressure there, because I said like it left the it's big enough to have a little bit of gravity itself. Honestly,
I would have to Google it, but I imagine it's
like
more than half.
Like like the moon. I imagine it's very much the moon. The moon has an atmosphere. It doesn't really have much.
The moon has a trace atmosphere.
Yeah, it might have a little bit more of an atmosphere than the moon. Then, honestly, not much of
the moon. The moon barely has an atmosphere.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't care enough for it at this point in time. I just we're just gonna get through it.
Want it over.
Fun fact: if someone teleports to a moon, in my world, depending on which moon they teleport to, I'll just be like, okay, your character's dead.
Mm-hmm.
You teleported to a moon and you've exploded and died. Because unless they had a whole bunch of magic to keep them alive, it's just like, you're just dead now. Congratulations, you visited the moon. You're not making a new character.
Honestly, like I mentioned, like they were asking some questions, and I mentioned that a source of the technology they're looking for is the moon, because again, they were asking the right questions for that information, because it is. It's the closest thing to the technology they were asking questions about, and then they're like, "We'll go there then," and I'm like, "Okay, how?" And that's why I had to give them like, "Here's a teleportation circle. Just get there and stop trying to come up with really stupid plans." I had to give them something, because they were just going to come up with the dumbest plan and get themselves murdered. And I'm like, I don't want you just killing yourselves.
Hey, 6. I was close. Because I said like half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really bad. But fun fact, your body needs a pressure force on it. Otherwise it can't stay together.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Fun. Isn't that fun? We're learning today.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll say it's enough atmosphere that it's not going to murder them. Just no oxygen. Well, I'll give them that. There you go.
It's a D&D game. That doesn't matter.
Anyway, so we'll finish that soon.
Make it really uncomfortable for them.
I might just, speed it up to the 2 sessions, honestly. I think I'll talk to, like, Lee and Linz and be like, hey, I'm going to try to get this in 2 sessions. Do you want to show up for the final one? I was going to do 3, but I just want to, hold the pen. Because I already know what I want to do next to kind of replace that game. Not on the same time slot, but a different game. And I know what maybe, like, the next 2 games I kind of want to do. Because I think I want to move up to 3 games, because I got a couple of ideas. Because I can do, a game like Buccaneers pretty easily. I set up a bunch of stuff in Roll20, and then, as long as I'm remembering correctly a lot of these stuff and remembering to read ahead again before we have a session, stuff doesn't go wrong sometime. And then I do miss things like a treant destroys your armor, Look, there's like, I have no idea where the fuck you're going on that island. Like, it's like you kind of were talking about doing the treants, but you were also talking about doing all these other things, and you just give me too many options sometimes, and I have to be like, what the hell do I have to read on? All of it? Oh, God, I have to remember all of it? Thank you.
That's why I just wanted to go down a list, and then other people wanted to make it insanely complicated.
Oh, they really wanted to make it complicated. But, I got an idea.
Edition for this, guys. We have, like, 3 months in game.
Anyway.
Yeah, this is why I mentioned to my group. It's like, hey, are you guys gonna go to a warehouse? Because if you do, I have to prep it. Because I didn't prep for that.
So, I think we can end it here, take a break, and come back for some other stuff. I'll probably move over.
Except we had a Friday game.
Oh, we had you guys had a Friday game. I forget you have a Friday
Yeah.
game.
Though,
I was
honestly.
like very out of it for that game.
And I do want to talk
I don't
about-
remember what happened.
You met another Blood Hunter guy who may
I
or
just
may
remember
not
I was annoyed because I thought I had very clearly said, hey, don't push me in the spotlight, and then I immediately was shoved in the spotlight.
be. Yeah, you met the new character because you had this weird Blood Hunter bond
Yeah,
thing.
I got forced to interact with people.
You chatted with them for a bit, and then we stayed the night, and basically, we like did our shopping basically.
Yeah, and we learned that every human is a dick, apparently.
Mm.
There's a lot of not nice humans.
They're all
We've met
assholes.
we've
I
met
like
like
two good people.
Yeah, there's like three. There's the Duke of the one town who's like super friendly and chill. There's that Lord guy who's like he's like a bro, right?
Mhm.
And then there's the human guard who's just like
Oh
just
yeah,
fine.
that dude.
But like the human wizard or whatever is kind of an asshole. But like that's like his personality trait is he's just kind of he has no charisma. He's like a 7
He's
or 8
blunt
charisma.
and an asshole.
Yeah, and then the fellow blood hunter people we met, which is where we went on a boat to go talk to. They're like, we don't trust anyone, and it's like we're here to talk to your leader. We have like this money thing, and then it's like, all right, and it's like, do they let us in? It's like, no, you get to wait out here. So it's like, okay, so I understand they might not know that we just gave them a ton of money, but like you just like wander away with this thing that we said is money. And we're just outside your castle, past the gate, not even inside the castle, so that they could like just close the gate and run away with our money as soon as they knew what it was.
Yeah.
And then they were like eyeballing us distrustfully, especially the other blood hunter, Momo, your character.
Apparently everyone hates my character.
And then I made jokes about how I hate these people and I'm going to come back here and kill them, which I guess antagonized the DM because they're like, yeah, good luck. And it's like, yeah, they're not. I mean, you're playing it like
I'm gonna
regular.
help you come back and kill all of them, don't worry.
Yeah, but like if you're playing it as like regular, they're probably not more than level 3 at best. You know,
Yeah.
because like level 3 is a pretty strong person in the time period. We're gonna end at level 6, and I can just fly overhead and fireball them
Yeah.
from 120 feet away
Humans are dicks.
in
apparently.
invisibly. You
Yeah,
know?
everyone, all humans are dicks, I guess, you know?
Yeah, so we are, rather than waiting around with a bunch of assholes, we're gonna go and try and meet up with their leader who's like dealing with something. And I sure hope their leader isn't an asshole, because otherwise I'm gonna be really pissed off.
Yeah.
So I thought of one final thing that I wanted to talk about too,
Uh-oh.
before we end it here. I spent this week playing Pathfinder Wrath of Righteous.
Oh no.
Were you really pissed off at the game?
Mixed bag, I have to say. The thing is, I think I have to say, I can see that this game is better than Kingmaker. That's the top thing. It is. It feels better than Kingmaker. I feel like, in a way, the combat stuff, it's unfiltered Pathfinder. Like, I gotta be honest, the most annoying thing I had was on Thursday night when I decided to play, when I had to fight, like, a CR, like, I guess 20 dragon, it felt like.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice.
I mean, honestly, like, the only reason I beat it the second time... Oh, no. The only reason I beat stuff in that entire area, I'm going to say, is Paladin with Smite. Because Smite, you don't have to confirm criticals. That's the only reason. Because I'm like, oh, I critical threat. Guess what? You automatically confirm when you smite it. I do,
Hell
like,
yeah.
you know, like 80 damage to this dragon. Because it murdered the shit... Oh, and also... I just happen to have given, like, my hunter the mythic ability that if he would die, he doesn't die for 2 turns.
Ooh.
It's a pretty good mythic ability. It's like if you drop, you're just reduced to 1 and damage can't drop you for, like, 2 rounds. Guess what that meant is? He tanked dragon attacks for a couple of rounds.
Hell yeah.
The amount of damage that man would have taken.
Instant death.
Oh my god! He took technically, I think, like 3 rounds of dragon attacks because of that.
Oh, jeez.
He just absorbed damage and let it long enough for me to whittle away at this thing's health to finally have that round where it criticaled and was enough to kill it, you know? With the Paladin. Because the Paladin is like smite, trying to hit it. Because honestly, I also cast 2 communal spells to resist fire because it did like I fought it 3 times. And the second time, it did 100 damage to me because I didn't realize it did 20 d10. The average of 20 d10 is over 100.
Oh, damn.
3 of my characters don't have 100 hit points. We're
no.
We're level 10
Why are you fighting the dragon?
because it's in the story.
Yeah. That's why I don't like the Pathfinder video.
I don't know why we're not fighting this in like chapter 4. Apparently this is and I learned about it. Apparently, if you want to recruit the character you're using, you have to do this in a timely manner. If you wait too long, you don't. And the thing is, it kept random attacking me, and after a few turns, left. It was basically stratting me. Shows up and it like breath weaponed me and then left. You know how of a dick move that is? It didn't.
This is why you can't like make dragon fights like how they would act in reality, because they'll just fly away and wait for their breath attack to recharge and then come back and attack you again.
It was.
Like, yeah.
But then the worst part is when I was trying to like leave, I didn't realize that like I could go back the way I came because it was like I went through this entire like cutscene to get to where I was. So I was like, oh, I'll climb down the tower. There were 2 like 20 hit dice mandrakes down there.
Oh hell yeah.
You know, like CR 16 things and 2 of them, and I'm like, fuck me. You know how I defeated them? Smite Evil again.
Oh hell yeah.
It's the only reason I defeated him. Smite Evil. You know, honestly, the one had much higher attack than the other because the other was like, you know, had some kind of like other kind of special ability and kept attacking the Paladin, who smited it and had like a ridiculous AC then, who I cast a lot of spells on, and so the Paladin was just like, I'm just gonna keep like absorbing all these attacks. It has to roll a 20 to hit me, and the first one had to roll like a 15, and I'm like, Paladin absorbs everything! Great, they hate the Paladin! I can focus everybody else doing damage and just using up every last one of my spells to fucking kill these. It sucked.
I'm gonna make a dragon character, Momo, that has oops all AC and oops all HP.
Alright,
Honestly, look,
all save attacks.
I don't know why they're not like, they don't give you a bard with the amount of like buffs I feel like you need to attack. When I'm like, I'm level 10, I shouldn't be fighting things with a 35 AC, let alone a 40, which the dragon had a 40 AC.
Nice. That's like what you should have like you're level 10, so your big hitters will probably have like a 16 or 17, maybe 18 to hit it if they're really decked out.
I will tell you, Mythic rank does not give you that much stuff.
No.
It gives you some pretty cool stuff, but not nearly enough to fight that kind of thing. And so I'm Mythic rank 3. It's nice, but you know what? How Mythic rank works in normal Pathfinder? It adds half a CR to your difficulty.
Yep.
So I am a CR. I can fight theoretically, even to me, to my team, like CR 11.5. So it was a hell of a thing. That was the worst part of the week. Otherwise, most of the battles were fine. There were some annoying ones, but they weren't too terrible. Nothing to replay too much. That was the worst. And honestly, I got lucky for it. The Mandrakes, they could have killed me. They got pretty close, but when they focused on the Paladin, who they couldn't damage, I was like, I won that battle. And then other than that, Crusade fights, they suck a lot. Like, you know, they build it in such a way that, like, honestly, it feels like you want to have you don't want to have losses at all, or minimum losses, because like you recover a certain amount of losses because you have a hospital after every battle, so you can lose a certain amount. Extra losses hurts you. You have to either spend weeks or a large amount of money to get them back, and it's hard to do that. Everything is money based. I'm fortunate that I got some good advice at the beginning of the week that I've been able to set up the, in quotation, kingdom part of this to get me pretty good resources. So I feel like
speaking of money, we have a lot of money in the Friday game, but we've been informed that we basically can't buy anything.
That kind of hurts.
Except for like basic like equipment.
Ooh, that hurts.
And
Yeah.
unless it's heavy armor or high end medium armor, we're just gonna have a ton of money for no reason.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. So, my assessment is Kingdom Building a lot better than Kingmaker's Kingdom Building. The Running Crusade kind of stupid, but like I feel like if I level up enough, you know, I can just overwhelm the jackass battles or use RNG to my luck to overwhelm them. 'Cause, you know, that's the best I can do. And the normal Pathfinder. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's certainly better than original Kingmaker, but I've also like played through original Kingmaker and learned it, and also like got that really good advice on Monday, which helped a lot for Chapter 3 and beyond. So I'll probably play more of it. It hasn't turned me off enough. Even the dragon fight, it just left me a little sour because it was late at night, and I just didn't want to fight that late at night, but I was sort of like, I was already in it, and I'm like, I guess got to finish this then.
Oops, all dragons.
Yeah. But
Every
anyway,
enemy you're gonna choose a dragon now.
True.
let's take our break here and switch gears, because it's time for the next thing. I don't know if I want to do party games or mystery. We'll see who's around. Let's see who's around and who wants to do some stuff. I'm going to pop over to the other chat again, away from discussing tabletop. I'll switch gears. I'll kind of go to a just chatting maybe on the thing right now, and I'll take a break to use the restroom, grab some drinks. Thank you for joining me, Lightning and Momo. I will cut this out of the entire stream, so if you're watching this on YouTube, you missed my entire birthday stream. Hey, you know, it was a long one. We're
How
about.
dare you miss it?
We're on like hour 7 at this point in time.
Almost. Yeah.
So, yeah, still going strong. Probably, maybe. It's gonna be my probably longest stream day in a long time. But all right, so bye YouTube, and farewell for a brief break for everybody else on Twitch here. So
Bye.
Bye.
bye.